Hello again. Making a video now of how you actually put this whole thing together before you put it in the freezer. I've got it on the stove here to get a bit warmer. I think that will help to get rid of the air bubbles inside the mould. I actually did one of these last night and it turned out pretty good. But it looked like it hadn't worked, so I didn't record getting the balls out, but that's what these came out as. So that's pretty good, but as you can see there's air bubbles around here. So that's what it'll look like if you get air bubbles clinging to the inside of the mould here. And the bottom, as it freezes, it might push them, so there's not many bubbles on the bottom, but at the top they get pushed out of the bottom up to the top and they cling around the hole there. So if you can get rid of all the air inside the mould, you won't get that problem. So I've got the bottom in here. Got a bit too much water. So I'll just try and get rid of all the air bubbles that are stuck to it. And you get the top in. Now when you put this together, it's kind of like a seal. So what you want now is to flip this thing over and not get any air inside this section here or into the holes. Now because there's no air in there at the moment, what you should be able to do is just squish the whole thing together and flip it around and then let it expand again, and water will get sucked into the parts you squished out, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'll just flip this over like so and let it expand out again, and that should be a perfect job. There's a bit of air around the outside of it. That's a good example of what I mean with air clinging to the mould. You want to make sure that you don't get this happening on the inside of your mould, because that'll ruin everything. I'm having a bit of trouble focusing on that. I'll just pull back. So yeah, as you can see there, air bubbles clinging around the mould. I didn't see any of those on the inside, so I might just leave that as it is. Don't have to worry about it on the outside really. Now you want to put your, here's my lattice thing. It's not very good. Haven't found a good hardware store. I'm in America at the moment. Don't really know my way around. This is paper clips and basically paddle pop sticks from work that people use to stir their coffees, which I've put together. So you want to get this under the mould without introducing any air, like so, and then hook it up on the sides. I think I just let some air in, so I'll have to start again. My lattice framework just broke actually. Doesn't look too bad. It should still work for this mould. So we'll turn this guy around again. Make sure there's no air. And twist it around again. Okay. And try this again. Gotta be really careful that you don't let any air in here while you're doing this. I have no idea how this hook came off. Right, I don't think this lattice is going to last for many more of these tricks, so I hope this one works. I want to try and get the mould flat. It's more or less flat. And see, the water level is below the middle of the ball. Now what happened with this one, the one that actually worked, which I didn't film, was it had expanded outwards, so the middle had bulged up, and I thought it was ruined, but that was actually the water under the mould, not in the mould, that had expanded. The balls themselves were still contained in their little spot, and that's the trick right there with having the water level below the halfway point, so the balls will freeze first. That way when the water in here underneath this starts to freeze and expand, it won't affect these because they're already done. So that's what you want. So I think I'll drop the water level a bit further this time. So it's only about 1/2 centimetre above the bottom of the mould. That should be enough. I want to get yourself one of these, big ass syringe. It's just useful for doing this kind of stuff in general. And when this is frozen, the ice will be up all the way around here, and maybe even on top. And to get the mould out, you can get hot water in this and just spray around the outside here, and just melts down around the mould. Then you can pull it out and you can get the balls out one by one. Otherwise getting it out is very hard because you can't just pop the whole thing out because there's bolts on the side here, so the whole block won't come out. But we'll drop the water level a bit. Right, so that's pretty good. That's a bit over, just under 1 centimetre above the bottom of the mould. You don't want to take it down too far because then the water under the bottom of the mould, under these holes, might freeze too soon. So you want it low enough that it's not going to freeze around the mold and distort the shape, but you want it high enough that it'll stay liquid long enough for the mold itself to freeze. So that's it. Now, to make sure it freezes slowly enough, what you also probably want to do is wrap some insulation around the pot so that it will only freeze from the top, not the sides, because that reduces the amount of refrigerated air that can come in contact with the main body of water, because this is the water you want to stay liquid, get lots of air to the mold and make these boys freeze while this is still liquid. So you can get yourself a nice long towel, wrap it around the sides like that, and then you just put that in the freezer just like that. So there's all the previous ones. Here's the Death Stars in a bag, and appear to have retained their markings. But as you can see, there is an ice build-up in there, so if they weren't in a bag they'd probably be ruined by now. And there's your little project. So we'll check back on this in about 24 hours. This mold seemed to freeze a bit faster than the Death Stars did.